Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring from McFarlane Toys and the DC Multiverse, Anti-Crisis Wonder Woman. So I bought this at my local Walmart maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had a handful of these on sale and clearance for $15. I initially passed up on this figure months ago when it first debuted, mostly because I forgot that in the comic book story that the reason why Wonder Woman is gold is because she's imbued with anti-crisis energy. From a distance, I always thought that maybe this figure was like a platinum release or maybe even like a gold label figure, because we've gotten some McFarlane figures where, you know, they come all gold just like this. But the difference between those figures and this is that this is actually how Wonder Woman appeared in the comic book story. If you remember Death Metal, the event, you know, a few years ago, so Diana, I think she goes to the World Forge and then she melts down her lasso of truth along with some death metal, and then she becomes imbued with anti-crisis energy, which is kind of like she's leveling up. You know, this is almost kind of like her final form if you think of like Dragon Ball Z. So this is her leveled up in anti-crisis energy, and then she has her chainsaw of truth, which, if I remember correctly, on the island of Themyscira, I think she melted down her invisible jet, and that's what she used to make her chainsaw of truth. So that's the accessory that comes with this figure. This is actually a second release of this figure sculpt. The previous release of the figure was this one. This was the Death Metal Dark Knights Wonder Woman. This was the This was a part of the Build-A-Figure collection to construct Dark Father. So they're essentially the same sculpts. The difference is, you know, for one, the difference in color scheme. You know, the Anti-Crisis one is all gold, but if you look carefully, you'll also notice that they have different heads. This one has the normal Wonder Woman head with the giant tiara, whereas this one is a completely different resculpt, and she has no tiara whatsoever. So yeah, for the most part, identical figures with the exception of the paint scheme and the head mold. So, all right, so let's take a look on the back. I believe this is just a CG render of the action figure, Anti-Crisis Wonder Woman from Death Metal. So normally I would pass up on this figure, but the fact that it was clearanced, you know, I told myself, why not? You know, I'm not one to pass up on a good deal. All right, so we have Wonder Woman in her anti-crisis form. Much like other McFarlane figures, she comes with a display base and also a trading card. Alright, so the first thing that really caught my eye as I'm handling this figure is the gold finish. I'm not sure if it's the same gold finish that we've seen on like other figures. Like there's that Flash 2-pack. Oh no, I think it's not the 2-pack. There's the one Flash figure is a gold label. His name escapes me right now, and there's a gold figure of him. There's, I think, a gold Batman figure from the live-action film, the one with Robert Pattinson, I think. And I want to say this might kind of be in the same color value as those. So here's her Chainsaw of Truth. Like I pointed out earlier, I think it's the same accessory we got before. It's just a repaint. It's a wild-looking weapon. So there's that. And then there's Wonder Woman herself. I gotta admit, I really like this. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do, but it's a really, really beautiful figure. It's not Wonder Woman, you know, in the sense of her looking iconic with the gold and the blue and the red, but this just looks really cool. If you're like someone that's big and setting up like dioramas and doing action figure photography, I think, you know, a figure like this would be kind of cool also, because you could pretend that maybe it's a statue. You know, for example, maybe you could set up a diorama of like the Hall of Heroes, and you could, you know, prominently display her like on a pedestal or base, and pretend it's not really a character but more so a statue. But if you're into the you know, the death metal storyline, you know, this figure will have some importance to you, especially since it's Wonder Woman in her anti-crisis energy form. The sculpting, as usual, is really well done. I really wish that we'd get this head, you know, like normal painted color, you know, painted up normally for like another figure. Maybe there is one, and I'm just forgetting it right now, because there's so many variations with some of the Wonder Woman figures. You know, like there's the one Wonder Woman figure where she's wearing what is it, the Helmet of Truth of Dr. Fate. And then there's the other one, you know, the variant where she has the mohawk. But yeah, really well done. The armor looks amazing. So if you've handled this, if you got the first release, you've handled this figure before. The only thing different is, you know, the gold color. But everything is just as high quality. As you can see, beautiful texture on the cape. This figure is very, very photogenic. You know, under my light, it just screams, you know, photograph me, videotape me, whatever. It's, the sheen of the gold is beautiful. You know, the light captures the edges really well. It produces great highlights. The recesses, you know, the material isn't so reflective that it washes out the edges and the recesses. If anything, it kind of accents them even further. So in terms of the articulation, Wonder Woman's head rotates. Does she look down? Surprisingly, she looks down. I have a feeling she's not going to look up just because of the hair here. And I'd be right. Her arm rotates, goes out. Ball jointed butterfly joint, or ball socketed butterfly joint. There is no cut mid-torso. So she doesn't twist below the bust line or at the mid-torso. I don't think she crunches forward either. She might have the internal mechanism to allow for it, but I think because of the way the body sleeve is designed, it doesn't allow for that motion. She does swivel at the waist. So she does twist at the waist. Legs do kick up. They do kick out. But you'll run into trouble with the skirt pieces here. Double pinned knees and standard ankle articulation. So yeah, it's a cool figure. Do you need this in your collection? It depends. If you're happy with the first release, you know, I'd say, you know, you're pretty much good with that. But if you're like a diehard fan of the actual story and the comic book, or just even if you're just a big Wonder Woman fan and you need all things Wonder Woman, I kind of think this does warrant a purchase then. But I can see a lot of people just passing on this. You know, much was the case in my local area. That's why it was clearanced at my Walmart. Let's get the Chainsaw of Truth in her hand. I think for the most part, you know, sometimes fans are into these like all gold colored figures or even the all gray artist proof ones because, you know, in some ways they're chase figures. They're limited in quantity. But this was not a gold label or a, you know, a chase figure in any sense. It was actually, you know, a standard release. But I think it's really just a really cool figure to look at. I mean, just look at that. That's beautiful. All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I rate her? For me, I'm going to be very generous and say 8.5 to a 9. The only thing that holds it back is the fact that the articulation is kind of limited in the body area. Visually, this figure is stunning. You know, I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do. You know, just seeing it in the box, in the store shelf, it looks kind of plain and generic. But under the right light, it just looks, it's a really standout looking kind of piece. You know, it's not your iconic Wonder Woman by any means, but it is a very quality figure with a seemingly almost premium-like finish. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.